On one side, you have thousands of years of faith, traditions built on deep thought and contemplation. And on the other, you have the digital feed, built for one thing: speed. These two forces are fighting a quiet war for our attention every single day, and we're about to see what happens when they smash into each other.
So what does happen when faith meets the feed? It's really the question of our time, isn't it? When ancient teachings have to fight for eyeballs against the latest dance trend or a hot take, which one gives? Let's dive into this by looking at a really fascinating modern case study. The world we're jumping into is called digital dawah. Now, dawah is the long-standing Islamic tradition of outreach and teaching. Digital dawah is just the 21st century version of that. But instead of a scholar speaking to a local community, you've got a content creator on your phone broadcasting to potentially millions of people all over the globe.
So who are these people, really? Who are the ones building these new digital pulpits? Well, a recent study sat down with 25 of them to figure out what makes them tick, what they're trying to do, and the massive pressures they're under. Let's dig into what the research found.
First off, where is all this happening? As you can see from the study's participants, it's all happening on very visual platforms. YouTube and Instagram are the big ones, making up over 2/3 of the primary focus. This is huge because the choice of platform really dictates the kind of religious content that gets made and the kind that gets seen.
And this quote, wow, it just says so much about the mindset of so many of these creators. Most of them didn't set out to be influencers. As this person explains, it often started as just a personal passion project that suddenly blew up. And then it became a responsibility they felt they just couldn't walk away from.
The study basically found 4 main paths to becoming a creator. For many, it's a deep, personal, spiritual calling. For others, it's seeing a gap, young people who just don't connect with traditional mosques and lectures. A big one is defense, wanting to push back against all the misinformation and Islamophobia out there. And then there's my favorite, the complete accident. You post one thing, it goes viral, and suddenly, you have a ministry.
And this is where things get really, really complicated. Because once you have that audience, you're not just a teacher anymore. You're now in a constant fight with a powerful, invisible force that has its own agenda, the algorithm. For these creators, that battle is everything.
And here's that dilemma in black and white. Authentic faith, right? It thrives on nuance, on complexity, on depth. But the algorithm? It wants the exact opposite. It rewards controversy, super simple messages, high emotion, and things that can go viral. The two value systems are basically at war with each other.
This creator from Europe just nails it. They know the algorithm loves a good fight, and they have to actively, consciously, every single day fight the temptation to just chase those easy engagement numbers instead of posting what's actually useful and true. It's a constant struggle. And let me give you a real-world example of what this looks like. Imagine trying to explain a complex point of Islamic law, something scholars have debated for, 1,000 years, in a 60-second TikTok video. How do you possibly make that simple enough for the algorithm without making it totally misleading? That is the choice they face with every single piece of content they create.
But look, the algorithm is just one piece of the puzzle. The pressure on these creators comes from everywhere. It comes from their own communities, from the need to make a living, and it takes a huge, huge personal toll.
I mean, just read this quote. It is staggering. It perfectly captures the impossible tightrope they're walking. They're getting hammered constantly. They're too liberal for the traditionalists, too conservative for the progressives, and of course, too Muslim for the Islamophobes. It is a relentless crossfire with absolutely no cover. And the study really breaks down these challenges. On top of the nonstop criticism, you've got the whole issue of money. Do you take a sponsor that doesn't quite fit your values? Then you've got the challenge of speaking to a global audience where a joke in one culture is an insult in another. All of this, as you can imagine, leads to some serious mental health consequences.
And that's not just a feeling, it's a number. The research found that 14 out of the 25 creators, that's well over half, reported serious mental health impacts. Everything from total burnout to severe anxiety. The pressure to be this perfect online representative for a faith of nearly 2 billion people is, as one person said, emotionally exhausting.
So with all that stress and criticism, is it even worth it? Are they actually building real spiritual connections, or is it all just about chasing clicks? The study tried to get a sense of the actual impact of all this work.
So what did the creators themselves think? Did they feel like they were making a difference? Well, their answer was pretty much unanimous. Just look at this number.
That's right. 24 out of the 25 creators interviewed were absolutely convinced their work was having a real positive impact. And their proof? The flood of DMs and comments from followers who told them, "Because of you, I learned how to pray," or "Your videos helped me find my way back to my faith."
And the positive impact they see is pretty significant. They're boosting basic religious knowledge, they're creating online communities for people who feel alone, and they're reaching folks who might not feel comfortable walking into a traditional mosque. The anecdotal evidence for positive change is just overwhelming. But, and this is a really important but, even the creators themselves have this nagging fear. This quote just cuts right to the heart of it. Are they just creating a generation that's great at winning online debates, but has no real, deep, spiritual connection to God? It's the fear that keeps a lot of them up at night. Okay, so where does all of this leave us? This new frontier of digital faith is messy. It's full of amazing potential and some really scary risks. But the study points to a pretty clear conclusion about what its role should be.
Here's the key takeaway. Online content is an amazing gateway. It's a fantastic tool for learning and for finding community. But it cannot replace the deep roots that only grow in real-life community and with traditional scholarship. You got to think of it as a powerful vitamin supplement, not the main course.
And that really leaves us with one final question, one that goes way beyond the specific community. As more and more of our lives are lived through screens that are designed to keep us scrolling, how do we, all of us, make sure that our deepest human connections, whether they're spiritual or not, stay truly deep and truly authentic?